everybody, I'm Michelle Demers. I'm creator of the Power of 15, Move Mountains in 15 Minutes per Day, and Power of 15 Teams. And today I'm going to be talking to you about 8 simple steps to double your productivity, how to get 30 minutes or more worth of productivity in just 15 minutes. So this is the method that I teach and that all the people that are on my Power of 15 teams use to get any goal, task, or project done. And I'm going to share that with you today. You can start using this right away. Okay, so step 1 is fully prepare before you start. So decide what you'll be working on. Make sure to set out everything you'll need to work on your goal, task, or project. If you're working on your computer, that means have your computer booted up, have any papers that you need. If you are working out, then that would mean have your workout clothes, have your sneakers, have your water bottle. If you're writing a book, have what you need for that. So anything that pertains to what you're working on for that 15 minutes or more, make sure you have that. Use the bathroom, get a drink, get yourself fully prepared. I say here, put up your do not disturb sign. So yeah, get in a quiet space, close your windows, close your door if you need to. If you've got kids, tell them to leave you alone for the next 15 minutes or more. Just be fully present to what you're about to do. And that also means turn off your phone. I actually like to put my phone on do not disturb mode, so it's not all the way off, but I'm just not getting all of those app notifications and text messages and things like that. Because I actually still do like to use the phone sometimes in my work. I'll use the calculator function, I'll use the calendar, I'll use different apps and things like that. So that's how I like to use my phone. So I don't turn it all the way off, but I just put it on do not disturb. Get rid of any and every distraction that you have. Turn off the TV. Make sure the dog is away or not bothering you. So just get rid of anything that could possibly be a distraction, and then get your timer ready. That's one of the upcoming steps, is we're going to set a timer. So make sure you have one. This might be a little homework that you have to do, is get yourself a timer. I mean, you can use your phone, you can use, there's apps on the computer if you're doing something on the computer. You can use the timer on your stove. You probably have a few things around your house that you could actually already use. So you probably have a timer somewhere. Okay, so that's step number 1, fully prepare before you start for whatever it is that you're going to be working on. And once you start using this process, you'll be getting into a groove. This part won't take you that long in the future. You'll already have stuff pretty much laid out that you use. You'll have your systems and your routines around this. But the first couple of times, you might have to think a lot about making sure you're all ready and take all these steps. Okay, step number 2 is get focused and centered. So I consider this almost like a mini meditation. It's really more just a breathing exercise, and that's just to let go of all the mind clutter, the million things that you're thinking about. If you have any negative energy going on, kind of shake that off, let that go. So what I do is I breathe in for 5 seconds, hold it for 5 seconds, and then breathe out for 5 seconds. So that's 15 seconds altogether. If you do it 4 times, that's a minute. So in a minute, you can get super focused and centered and grounded. Some people like to do this sitting. Some people like to do this standing and stretching while they do it. Whatever works for you, do that. And this is an important step so that you really get that mental focus ready to work on what it is you're going to work on. Step 3 is set your timer for 15 minutes and work uninterrupted. So as I was saying earlier, use your phone, a kitchen timer, a stopwatch, a computer app, whatever you have that you can use for a timer. Don't skip this step. This is very important. Set it to make a noise when it goes off. I like that because I actually don't want to see the timer while it's going. So I'll have my phone face down, or if I have my stopwatch on, I don't look at it while I'm working. That's my personal preference. I think that's more effective because when you don't know when it's going to go off, you tend to work faster during that time period, as opposed to if you're always looking at the time, that can actually end up being a distraction. So you'll work faster, you'll stay more focused when you have a timer. Plus, if you actually need to record your time for any reason, let's say you're doing billable hour type of work for a client, then you will be much more accurate in your time as well. And it's important to work uninterrupted. So let's say you forgot to turn the ringer off on your phone. Don't answer it. Let's say the kids are knocking at the door. Don't answer it. Unless there's an emergency, but you get what I mean. Like, it really needs to be something major. The smoke alarm needs to be going off for you to actually stop working and get up, because otherwise you can make an excuse that anything and everything is a worthy distraction for you to stop. So you need to get super laser focused, work uninterrupted for your 15 minutes. And then step 4 is stop when the timer goes off. So usually within 30 to 60 seconds of the timer going off, let's say I'm in the middle of writing an email or something, I'm not going to stop mid-sentence, but I don't also want to wait 5 minutes to stop either. This is actually part of a reconditioning process that we're doing. And so it's important to, when the timer goes off, to honor that. So get to a stopping point as quickly as you can. And yeah, don't blow through the timer without acknowledging that it went off. Okay, so immediately after you turn the timer off, you are going to celebrate. What does a celebration look like? Do a fist pump, like, yeah, yay me. Get up and do a little jig, give yourself a little pat on the back, do what I call a power pose. So that's like standing like Rocky in the Rocky movies with your arms outstretched. Make it audible and physical. Like, it's okay to actually talk to yourself and say, that was great. I'm awesome. And make it physical. Move in some way. That fist pump, that power pose. I know it might seem silly, but I need you to get over that and just do it anyway, because what we're actually doing is we're rewiring your brain and reconditioning you for success. This little celebration is going to impart a positive feeling for you to be working on whatever it is you're working on, whatever that goal, task, or project is, as well as giving you a positive feeling for this overall process. And there's a saying that what we do, what we celebrate, gets repeated. And so that's what we're doing. This is also a very useful technique if you're trying to overcome procrastination, because we need to exchange what probably is negative feelings, resistance around whatever it is you're working on, to something positive. So do not skip this step, even if it seems a little bit silly. You'll actually come to love it, I promise. Step 6, take a short break. So let's say you're writing a book, and let's say you're in that zone of writing and you don't really want to interrupt that. You just stopped when the timer went off. You did your little celebration. If you don't need to use the bathroom or anything, like if you don't have another reason where you have to get up, then it is okay to move on to the next step and get back to work. But it's also okay for this time to take a couple of minutes, go use the restroom, move around, stretch, answer a quick text if you need to, but don't let that get you out of your zone, because you'll want to get back to work for your next cycle of 15. But take anywhere from 1 to 5 minutes, whatever you need. Okay. Step 7 is assess your energy. So check in with yourself. How are you feeling? Are you going to keep going, either working on the goal, project, or task you were working on? Are you going to switch to something else? Are you going to stop work? We always want to end on a high note with gas left in the tank. You never want to stop when you're already at your breaking point or exhausted, because that actually imparts a negative feeling, and then that will create resistance to wanting to get back to that goal, project, or task, or getting back to using this process. So we always, always, always want to end on a high note. And make sure that if you do decide to keep working, that you really have the time for it, because a lot of times what people do is they're in the zone and they're going and they don't want to stop because it feels good that they're in that zone, but they actually haven't scheduled the additional time to keep going to work on whatever it is they're working on. So then when they do keep going, they actually are creating stress because then they're not getting to the thing that they were supposed to be getting to. So part of this overall process, as you dig deeper into it, is I want you to actually get into calendaring these 15-minute work sessions so that if you want to keep going, you have that time blocked off that you are able to continue if you wish. Okay. And step 8 is, if you're choosing to continue, repeat steps 1 through 7. So we're going to do the whole cycle over again. And quickly, what those are, again, are fully prepare before you start. If you're continuing working on the same thing, then you're already done this part. If you're switching to something else, then just take a couple minutes and prepare for that. Get focused and centered. It doesn't hurt to do that breathing exercise again. It's just a minute, kind of getting back in that zone. Set your timer again for 15 minutes and work uninterrupted. When the timer goes off, honor it. Don't just blow through it. Give yourself that quick little celebration, the yay me, the fist pump, the jig, whatever it is for you that you like. Take your short break, at least a minute. Get up if you need to. And then assess your energy. Are you going to keep going or are you going to stop? So that's how you do your 15 minutes. The key to really getting the most out of those 15 minutes is you're doing batch work. So work on one thing at a time. So if you're writing a book, just work on that. If you're just doing general everyday office stuff, answer all the emails together. Do all your social media together. Make your phone calls together as much as you possibly can. I know that sometimes there are some exceptions to those rules. If you're working on client projects, do one client project at a time. Really chunk it down so that you're working on like things together so that you're making the most of your time and energy. If you're constantly switching back from, I'm working on this project, now I'm answering an email, now I'm writing a comment on a Facebook post. If you're moving around and doing all sorts of different things, that's what starts to eat up time, energy, bandwidth, like mental energy, and all of that. So if you use this method, you can definitely fit 3 cycles in an hour and still have a couple minutes to catch your breath, move around, just take a little bit of a break. Or let's say you're into a project you're going to be working on for a while. Again, a book is just a great example. Then take those 1 or 2 minutes in between cycles to reset yourself, but you can keep going. So you can fit 3 to 4 cycles of 15 in an hour when you're really on a roll. And if you do that, you're going to accomplish about 1.5 to 2 hours worth of work in that hour if you really stick to that process. And like anything, if this is new for you, give yourself a week or 2 to really ramp up in it and really kind of get all the steps down, and you'll really start to get in a flow. So doing this is as much of building a habit in a routine as whatever it is that you're working on. So that is how you do it. Now, some people say, well, this sounds awfully similar to the Pomodoro method, which you might have heard of. And Pomodoro method is similar to this. They focus on 25-minute segments. And the reason I like 15 is you can fit up to 4 in an hour, because in this day and age, our attention spans are so much shorter. I think that we actually get more bang for the buck when we're working in these 15-minute cycles than when we're working in 25-minute cycles. And also, it trains us that when we have these little bits of time here and there, that we can actually do something productive with them. It's not like, oh, if I don't have 25 minutes or half an hour, I won't be able to get anything done. So why even start? What you'll start to find is, ooh, I can get a lot done in 15 minutes. So you might find that you have 15 minutes while you're waiting to pick up your child from school. You're sitting in the car and you're waiting for them, and you can actually get something done there in your car, on your phone or whatever. So you start to actually find more pockets of time that you can use. And sometimes those pockets are less. Sometimes it's 5 minutes or 10 minutes, but you could still get something done in that time that's worthwhile. That's time that we often tend to waste, right? Like, oh, I only have 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Well, I'll just scroll through social media and I'll watch another cat video. But when you start to adopt this way of working, you will look at those smaller chunks of time as really valuable time that you actually can accomplish things. And even if it ends up being less than 15 minutes, you can still use these steps, and you still want to run through these steps. Set your timer, do a little celebration. Do a quick, maybe not a minute, but maybe like 30 seconds, just quickly breathe and center yourself. So you can even make use of chunks of time that are less than 15 minutes and still use these steps. And when you do that all throughout your day, you'll be amazed at how much you get done and then how much time that you have left over, where it's your choice what you want to do with that. Do you want to keep working and invest that into your work? Do you want to use that for personal time? You have more time to work with at that point, and you can direct it where you want. So that's the 8 steps. That's how you move mountains in 15 minutes a day. All right, thanks, guys.